this young woman stands before God with the world, the universe in the balance, and says yes. And then particularly in Luke, this beautiful song of praise that she offers. Again, we don't know as much as we wish we did about this young woman, but what we do know very much makes her seem remarkable.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was going to share a very similar sentiment. I think you got to be careful with this language, especially when we're talking about the birth of Jesus. But the Protestant church may be threw the baby out with the bathwater a little bit here, because at the end of the day, there is a lot of theological debates that at time of Reformation had progressed and evolved, and we're not going to trace all that here today. But some of the stuff that was really concerning then is not the particular conversation we're having now. And I think the thing that needs noted now is that for young women, Mary is a substantial point that God has chosen to use human life as the entry point for our salvation. And that required a woman who would submit, a woman who would say yes, a woman who would allow God to begin this plan even within her. That is a kind of vulnerable, a kind of trusting, a kind of faith-filled, a kind of at the risk of your own body choice. And when we talk about faithfulness and we talk about discipleship, we talk about being the kind of people that follow God, we're not, as Protestants, we're not going to put Mary in some kind of spiritual pedestal, because we don't find that kind of conception helpful. But it would be foolish, I think, to not look at Mary and see in her all of the hallmarks of faith that we would be proud to have in our own lives. The willingness to say yes, the willingness for that to be at our own cost, not knowing what the cost will fully be, and yet trusting that God will be faithful to us in the midst of that task. Mary represents that in a human, concrete way. And she is a woman, which in the time in which this is written, in Jewish culture, this matters. This is a lifting up of her and her faith in a way that we should celebrate, even if we don't put her on a pedestal.
Yeah, I mean, these beautiful words, "Here am I, the servant of the Lord, let it be with me according to your word," that there is no partnership like this between God and a human being.